We're back. I'm George Mossey. This is my co-host Heather C. It's last night, 90 Day Fiance, before the 98 days, season 5, episode 4. This is part 2. We have more to talk about. So let's start off with Memphis and Hazma. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Okay, so when she arrives in Tunisia, there's a 2-hour car ride between the airport and his house, which I thought was insane because she had already traveled so many hours.
Don't
And
be
during
late to
this
the airport.
Well, yeah, exactly. And then during this car ride, we find out that, well, we knew, but Memphis finds out that Husma has lied about their sleeping arrangements. So he told her that when she arrived, they could sleep in the same room, in the same bed. There was no issue. But we knew, since we have been watching 90 Day Fiance for many seasons, that that is not true based on their culture and their religion. And she finds out in the car, and she's a little upset, but that doesn't seem to stop them because on the first night, they sneak into each other's rooms and they are caught. And this bothered me only because I'm not shaming anyone or anything, but Husband's mom said, she made a comment last week and she said that she thought American women can be promiscuous. And she made that comment. And I was thinking, like, that's such a generalized comment. And I wish she wouldn't have said that. And now Memphis's actions are kind of making her comment true, which I hate.
I think it's just, I don't know, being the fact that they're from two different sides of the world with two different ways of life and beliefs and way of doing things. It's always going to be, two different ways of basically everything. I mean, their cultures are different. The way they were brought up is different. The way they view women is different. I think that from Memphis, I think that, I don't fault her, and this might be the American side of me, but I don't know. I don't fault her for wanting to get to know the person that she's going to marry that way. Because, I mean, first of all, there's obviously mad attraction. You know what I mean? And it's like they video chat with each other and all this other stuff. So they got themselves all hot and bothered. So they knew when they were going to see each other that something was going to go down. And he is 28 years old. So it's not like, she's sneaking into some teenager's bedroom. But on the same aspect, she has to respect the house that she's in because of their culture, age or not. He lives with his mother. It's her house. And she deliberately said, I want you guys to wait till marriage. They could have at least got a hotel room or something. You know what I mean? But yeah. I don't know.
I agree.
What's going to happen?
I agree. They should have done it somewhere else. Out of respect for the mother, even if she wasn't going to have full respect for their culture, but out of respect for her home and her wishes. When you're staying with another person's parent, a lot of times the culture and the way that they see things are always going to be different. Parents are all different all across the world. So the way that she went about it, and then the fact that he wouldn't go back to the couch after the deed was done. Also, why would you sleep in there and then be caught? They were just sloppy. You know what I'm saying? They were sloppy about it.
The blame wasn't always on just Memphis either. This was a 2-person ordeal. So
yes, that's
here
true.
And be pointing the fingers just solely at one person when it took 2 to tango. He knew his mom. Even if she was the one to pursue it and be like, hey, let's, whatever. He needs to be like, dude, we're in my mom's house and this is what's going to happen. So either he didn't care or they just got caught up in the moment. I don't know. But either way, I agree with you. It was sloppy. They should have, went back to their places.
After all that, she's not even satisfied with the amount of time that it took place. So they might not even be getting married in the first place. And on that note, Let's talk about Mike and Amina. So Mike finally heads to Colombia and he meets with Amina. And it's super awkward, right? They're trying to have a conversation. They can barely understand each other. And then the translation machine or app that he was using couldn't get anything right. Anything that he said, it got it all wrong. And it was just really awkward. And I felt like for someone who has done so much for her, I wanted there to be more of a connection. I wanted him to feel as though he knew her. And I really feel like he doesn't. He kept saying, I love you over and over. And I'm thinking, I don't know if you really do. I think you love the idea of being with her and having a family, but I don't know if you've actually spent enough time together, because when they went to eat, there was literally just silence. They had nothing to talk about. And it really got to the point where I was thinking, if she's not asking him to do things for her, it's almost like the conversation dries out. And that makes me feel like she's using him. And I don't know that. And based on what we've seen, he's done a lot more for her than she's done for him. So that's kind of the way we all lean.
I don't want to be like the bad guy in this situation, but I'm going to go ahead and say I think she's using him. And the only reason why I say that is because if she's not, they really need to be careful when they do their interviews with TLC, because for her to be like, well, I'm not attracted to him, but he's what I need for my kids, and I want a better life in America, and, you know, such and such. So it's like, you could have at least been like, oh, he's a really nice guy and he's got a great personality, and, you know, kind of like bias on that. Because, I mean, not everything has to be based on attraction. That helps.
Yeah.
But it helps even more when you at least are attracted to the person's personality. She did say he was a nice guy, but that just didn't seem like enough. And I don't want to necessarily put out there that it's so horrible that they don't speak the same language, because we've seen time and time again that, like, Paul and Karini and, you know, all these other people, they have those voice apps and stuff, and they just talk back and forth. You know what I mean? And they've been together for a really long time. They have children involved. So, I mean, maybe he just needs a better voice communicator. Some night classes, taking Spanish. I don't know.
Well, yeah, I think Spanish classes would not hurt the
He knows a little
situation
bit.
at all.
He knows a
But
little bit.
I think that it was interesting what one of Hamida's sons said. She said that Mike is the best guy that his mom has ever brought home. And that kind of shocked me that he said that, because he's so young. And it makes me wonder what they've seen and what they've been through, that they can tell right away if someone is a good guy or a bad guy. Because when you're a child, you know, that should be the last thing on your mind. So that kind of was making me root for Mike in this situation, because I feel like these kids deserve a good father figure and a good guy. So even, I don't know, I'm kind of rooting for the kids at this point. I just want them to get a good guy, because if they can recognize that quickly if a guy is a bad guy or not, it means that they've seen and been through a lot.
Right.
All right, so let's talk about Caleb and Alina. So after a night of awkward interaction, Caleb wakes up in a great mood. He's bearing gifts. He gets her a necklace, which she originally calls trash, but it's not. It's actually eco-friendly. And he has a backpack carrier because he likes to hike. So he wants to bring her on hikes with him. Even though Alina laughed at the situation, she kind of thought it was nice that he was going out of his way to include her in the things that... Yeah, at least, I mean, he's thinking out the box and he's trying to include her in things that he likes to do, which I think it's a sweet gesture, because he knows that there's a lot of physical differences and sometimes they're not going to be able to do the same thing. But the idea that he's trying to include her, I think, shows that he's serious about making the situation work. So the next day they meet with Elijah, who seems to be, right off the bat,
a diva.
Hateful. Yeah, he just doesn't like Caleb. He's sitting there, he's sipping tea, and I kind of looked at it as the calm before the storm. Right before he destroys Caleb, he's kind of sitting there and analyzing the way that he's going to destroy him. And that day, they did everything that they did was together. It was a three-way day. And it seemed like Elijah spent the whole day trying to tear apart everything that Caleb was doing. And even at the point at dinner, he didn't pour water for Alina, and he said, oh, look, he's pouring his own water and not yours. And Caleb is like, I feel like she's capable of pouring her own water. You know, I would help her in situations where she would need help, but she is capable. And I do say Alina is a very capable woman. She does a lot on her own. Everything that she can do on her own, she does. I feel like Elijah is more so worried about losing his best friend. We saw that they have a band together. They live together. They do everything together. If this relationship works, this would pull his best friend to another country. And I feel like that is really the issue here.
I think that this season they're really trying to make Caleb be the villain, but I don't know if he is. I think that the best friend might be the villain. He might be the drama. And, you know, Alina, she's cute. You know, I like that she's going for her man, but some of her comments that she makes on Americans kind of irks me a little bit, because it's like, I don't know why it seems that people in other countries have such bad perception of Americans. It's like, No, we're not perfect. We probably have a lot of bad habits, but if you're going to go on American TV, do you have to come for the whole entire country? Like, just to be like, oh, they're rude. That's not true. Not every man in the world is rude. I'm going to, you know, just drink my water and hang out or whatever. And I feel like he kind of got her back with that Cheers where he was like, this is my best friend and this is your best friend. Because you know damn well she wanted to be like my potential love interest and so on. So yeah, that was crazy. But I guess we'll see as the time goes.
Yeah, we'll see as the time goes on if this relationship blooms. We did see that Caleb felt more comfortable on the second night, and he did give her that kiss and that intimacy that she was craving for. But we just have to see if there's actually a relationship under there. 13 years of talking online and on the phone is not the same as being in an actual relationship. So as the season goes on, we're just going to have to see how this works and if Elijah's even going to allow it to happen. You know, at this point, we don't even know if Elijah is even going to allow this relationship to move any further. He's really working to stop it. So we're just going to have to see as it goes on. So that's it for part 2, guys. Next week, we will be live tweeting, obviously, Sunday night, 90 Day Fiance, before the 90 days. Again, I'm George Mossey. This is my co-host, Heather C. And we will talk to you guys really, really soon.
Bye.